Welcome back to the channel. You might ask yourself, Matthew, what are you doing with a car like this? This is a 2003 Taurus. It's a base model Taurus with the Vulcan V6 in it. It's got drum brakes on the back. It's really a basically no options car, although it does have a CD player. These Tauruses though did come with, you know, a lot of the sort of nice creature comforts that we've all come to expect. Their power steering, their power brakes. It has the ABS brakes, presumably just on the front. It's actually got adjustable pedals in it, so the gas and brake pedals can move depending on, you know, if you're a short driver or a tall driver. It's got interval wipers, got windshield washer, of course, rear window defrost, it's got air conditioning, and so on. So, you know, it's a pretty serviceable kind of a car. Why did I end up with a car like this? Well, my dad is getting pretty elderly, and he's gotten to the stage where his mobility is bad enough that he just can't step up into my Escalade, which is my, you know, all the time passenger vehicle for taking people around. He can't get into it. He's got to go to doctor's appointments and coffee dates and stuff like this. So he's got to have a vehicle that he can get into. And to be perfectly honest, I think that's a car. So I started looking for cars that would be suitable for my dad, that I can just leave up at his place. And then, you know, we can drive a fun car up there, take him to whatever he needs, leave the car there and take a fun car back. It takes a little bit of the drudgery out of driving up and down the road with a, you know, just a truck or whatever in the summer when he could be driving something more fun. I did quite a bit of searching for a car. I looked at all kinds of cars. I spent quite a bit of time on this project. And if you've had any look at the cheap used car market these days, you know that it's pretty terrible. At least it is here in Alberta. $10,000 Canadian gets you, you know, a 15-year-old car that would have been a nice car once, and chances are is like a junk pile now. For instance, I looked at a Jaguar XJ. Guy wanted $12,800 for it. When I went to look at it, you know, a bunch of the electronics, backup camera, blind spot information, all that stuff smashed up and not working. The whole dash had been switched into Russian, although I assume that's just a setting to get back into English. But, you know, it had copious bubbles in the degas bottle, and it had a, you know, cooling system parts replaced recently. My guess is that that's a car that, you know, the cooling systems which fail on them had broken, dumped the coolant, he boiled it, blew up a head gasket. I mean, it is a supercharged V6, and then decided to dump it. And that's a car that you wanted like 12,800 Canadian dollars for. So probably a little bit less than 10,000 US dollars. So it's frustrating trying to buy, you know, a used car that's not expensive, that you have occasional use for, and that's going to work. To make a long story short, cruising Marketplace the other day, this car came up, and it was advertised as a one owner, always garage, little old lady car. Was supposed to have been have 141,000 kilometers, which is, you know, like 90,000 miles or something. So that's pretty low miles for a 23-year-old car. And I'm a sucker for red, so it was in my color, and I went to take a look at it. It was also advertised as a loaded all options car. When I got there, the car was as base of a Taurus as it gets. Base engine, base climate control, base everything. But he didn't want big money for it. So I scanned it, I looked underneath it, I went for a drive, I listened to what the guy had to say. Probably 75% of it was, you know, exaggerated at least, but the car seemed like it was probably okay. It had a really terrible windshield, but other than that, it seemed like a decent driving car. It wasn't full of codes, and really everything works on it except the trunk release, and it turns out the door lock cylinder in the driver's side. So I bought it. I gave the guy 2,800 Canadian dollars, which is like 2,000 US dollars. That's nothing for a car that might work. I brought it home. Drove fine on the way home. I'd drive about 50 miles back to my place. And then while I was getting the car registered, I made an appointment with my favorite glass guys, Cal Alta South here in Calgary. Took it down there this morning and they replaced the windshield. Apparently the windshield was not even glued in. Not only was it shattered, I mean, one of the worst I've ever seen, but it wasn't even stuck in. I'm not a glass man, but this is what they told me, and I'm sure it's true, that whoever put it in probably didn't put an activator on the glass, and so the urethane didn't stick to it, and they just pushed it out with their hands. They didn't have to cut anything. So that was super dangerous, and maybe highlights the problem with using the ultra cheap know a guy windshield repair guys, because they do a crappy job, and something like 70% of the structural strength with your roof comes from the windshield. So if you'd rolled the car over with that windshield in, it just would have popped out, the roof would crush like a soda can, and you'd probably be killed. So you certainly wouldn't do all that well in that kind of a wreck. So it was good to get it replaced. I got a brand new windshield in here. That was the sort of major thing that I noted, but you've always got to be skeptical of a car like this. And I did find a couple of little modest things on it, which I'm going to try and resolve to turn it into, you know, a reliable little driver for my dad. And I thought maybe I would take you guys through the process. A couple other things that we're going to try and do here and take you through it is the headlights are terribly yellowed. So I have ordered the Sylvania kit. That's the one that the Project Farm guy recommends. And we're going to see how we do with cleaning these headlights up. The driver's side door lock cylinder looks, well, it doesn't work. The key doesn't turn it. So we're going to see what we can do about sorting that out. And a funny thing that I noted is the rear seat backs. That frame is supposed to be bolted down with fasteners, and it's not for some reason. The first thing I want to do here is see if we can't do something about the door lock cylinder. It would be very helpful if a key would work, because if the battery's dead, then we're not going to get into it with the fob. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about with the lock cylinder. I put the key in and it doesn't turn. The way I discovered this problem was kind of unfortunate, because I bought the car and I checked all the lights and stuff, and the guy I was buying it from had left the light switch on. So then I left, and it took some hours to get back there with a ride and a license plate and insurance in hand. And in that time, the battery was dead. It's very clear that these people used the fob almost exclusively to unlock the door. And in that case, you can end up with the lock cylinder seized up. I mean, it is a 23-year-old car. Now, there's all kinds of reasons the key might not fit. Like, for example, the door was replaced. Here's the thing. There were 2 keys and 2 fobs with it. Both keys open the trunk and turn the ignition. Both fobs work. And these are coded keys. So these are probably the right keys for the car. Again, maybe it also supports the idea that it might have been a one owner, one family type of car, because there's still 2 keys. The door might have been damaged and replaced, but fortunately on the driver's door, there's a VIN sticker on there. So that VIN matches the VIN of the car. That means this is the original door. There's no sign that this lock cylinder has been jimmied, like in a break-in attempt. So it seems pretty likely that what's happened is it's just virtually never been used, because they always use the fob to lock and unlock the car. And if that's the case, the best approach is to just lubricate it. Now, when the door lock is truly corroded, I would suggest starting out with something like fluid film, which is a penetrant and rust destroyer. And it also leaves a nice slick coating on stuff. If you think it's just sticky, you can use something like this silicone spray lube, which doesn't make any kind of a mess. Let's just stick a little bit of fluid film in here. You can see it bubble there. That's a sign that maybe it is a little bit corroded. And we'll stick the key in afterwards. That's instantly 100 times smoother. For sure, this lock cylinder was problematic due to disuse, and a little bit of a lubricant, especially a penetrant and lubricator and rust destroyer like fluid film, goes a long way. Wow. If you face this kind of problem with a car you just bought, and like this one, you're pretty sure that you're dealing with a lock that should be intact, but it won't turn. Another possible issue is it could have the power door lock actuator, which this is attached to, jammed. That was definitely the case on that white hatch project I did called the Fridge, the garage find rescue project that you may have watched on the channel. And I needed to replace the power door lock actuator in that car for the key to work because it wouldn't turn because the door lock actuator was jammed. In this case, I knew the door lock actuator worked because you could do it with the fob. So it had to be in the cylinder. Look at that. Works every time now. That's the easiest 15-second fix to a problem on a car like this ever. Okay, the next thing I thought was kind of weird. This whole seat back assembly is just flopping around. Now, there are fasteners underneath here. Let me pull this down. There's fasteners down there which are supposed to bolt the seat back frame to the chassis of the car. And those fasteners are missing. And like I said, if I had my guess, there's also some up here somewhere. If I had my guess, I would guess that the problem here is someone pulled this whole seat frame assembly out in order to make more room, pass-through room, for hauling something. And then they lost the fasteners. So I'm gonna find some fasteners and see if I can put that back together.